Welcome to Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road and other friends and followers. This is December the 9th, 2023, Spas Creek, Short Johnson Branch, and Clifton. And we got quite a bit going on here today. We're starting off at Thacker Barbecue over in Slade, went up Highway 11, across on 613 to Spas Creek, and then out 713 through Frenchburge on 460. And here we got a little more detail where we get to Spas Creek. If you use your GPS, it'll take you right to the start, and this here is the start of the trail. The GPS gets you to this spot, and there's 4 of us here today, including us. And we hung out a little bit at the beginning, zipped around here, talked, and got everything set up. They did their airing down and getting ready procedure. And most of this is going to be done from the rear view camera view. You've seen a lot from the front, so this time we're going to do a lot more from the back. We have some camcorder video that we insert in here in certain places when we are doing a few of the more interesting spots. So we'll have that for you too. Spas Creek is the longest of the 3 and the wettest, so we'll be showing quite a bit of that. We didn't show much of Johnson Branch because quite frankly there isn't much going on it. Here we are getting ready to do the first so-called obstacle. We go up over the little rise and drop into the mud hole. And we'll show some camcorder video of everybody going through this. All of this has been sped up, by the way. Don't get to see me much, but this time I had somebody running the camera for me, so I came right across. You saw me run across that log. Gotta watch these logs. Sometimes they will lower your ground clearance and could possibly get hung up on you underneath. That was Jeep 1, that was Cody, and we have Danny and his wife coming through here. Cody had his wife and 2 kids with him too. And he's on pretty well stock height with I think 32s, and we'll talk more about those later. And this is Mike and Carrie coming across. He's in little Willie's 2-door JK. All of these folks bought their Jeeps within, I think, 2 or 3 weeks of each one of them. So they all ended up getting into Jeeping pretty quick. We're just zipping along through here in Spas Creek. You've seen a bunch of my Spas Creek videos, so just by this time I did this mostly from the rear. This is not the entire trail. We cut quite a bit of it out. It's still fairly dry. We haven't got into our rainy parts yet. That comes up, I don't know, mostly into December 1st of January, but right now it doesn't look too bad. We're not getting through this without any trouble. A few mud holes. You can see that one can be a lot deeper, just happens not to be right now. All of these have solid bottoms if you stay on the trail, which is what you're supposed to do. This is the backcountry byway. It consists of old historic county roads, etc. This is the bypass we're showing here. We're going up and around a tree, and you'll see down behind there I recommended the Gladiator go underneath the tree because I don't believe he could have got up here. His ground clearance would have probably drug coming right up that hill right there. You can see me going around it. I've shown this several times. That spot right there with my passenger side rear is kind of a pretty sharp drop off. You got to kind of watch out there because you can, if you don't have enough clearance. I've seen plastic bumper corners get torn off there. And there goes the Gladiator under the tree. This was a family affair. These folks are known as the 4Seasons Jeepers on Facebook. You can follow them as well. And there I am directing him over. He's got some steps that stick down. Later on he takes those off, but he has plenty of clearance. I think he said he thinks it's got about a 4-inch lift. Doesn't have any traction devices. The Willys here has a rear limited slip. He doesn't have as much clearance, but he's also shorter, which helps with the breakover angle. You can see he gets over it pretty easy. And off we go, life in the rear view. Kind of left that run because we had several mud holes in a row. Otherwise I would have cut more of that out. These can be deeper. Right now the seas, there's a big rock right there, right next to him. You can't see it very well, but you have plenty of room to get around it. You probably have a couple 3 feet. Even full-size trucks can get through that spot. Another creek crossing here. My wife likes to take a lot of pictures through these creek crossings. We have a Facebook page also called Nature's Glory Cabin, as well as a website, naturesglorycabin.com, and there's information on both of those. The website is mostly a jump-off spot to YouTube or Facebook. We have started recently doing Amazon affiliate. There will be some links that you can click on, and I earn a small commission when you use those links. And here's a little spot that can be deeper. Wasn't very deep today. On the angle it kind of looks like it's worse. You can go around it mostly. You can see that there bypass on the left of your screen, which would be your passenger side, and in a little bit deeper water here. I've shown this several times. You're probably familiar with it by now if you've been following any of my videos. Now that was a little deeper. It kind of got up to the bumper. If you notice, they swapped out. I do have a different person following me now, and they take turns so they can each get in the rear camera. I asked them to do that. There was another little deeper spot. The Gladiator is a newer one. It's a JL. The other two are JKs, and I'm in a TJ. I have a 3¼ inch lift with 33-inch tires, and I can go in a lot of places this little short TJ goes. You always got to be aware of the trail. At any time trees can fall back here. It's a forest. The old ones, they don't get cut out. They just fall when they're ready. So you should be prepared. I always carry a battery operated chainsaw, a bunch of recovery gear. So you got to make sure that you can get out, or you'll just have to turn around and go back and hope that something didn't happen behind you while you were on the trail. Another creek crossing here. This one here has a little bit of left-right flex to it. This video does not do it justice. Here's a little bit of it you can see. This is some camcorder video. This guy has the rear limited slip. Watch that front tire come up. None of these guys disconnected any sway bars. And you can see it there as he comes around the corner from the rear view. And here comes the Gladiator. The side he's on is much smoother. I sent him up that because his limited ground clearance and just his wheelbase. He could have drug a step or something. And here comes Cody with the 4-inch lift. Now he doesn't have any traction devices. Look closely, you'll see a tire spinning. He didn't quite carry enough momentum. He doesn't have any traction devices, so when he pulled that tire off the ground, it wasn't happy. But got through it. And here we are taking off. There's a mud hole right here. Not very deep today. It doesn't get a whole lot deeper, but it can be, I don't know, 2.5 feet deep, 24 to 30 inches. Usually it just runs out when it gets to a certain point, so it never gets but just so deep. Another little mud hole running up the creek. This is a little deeper one. You can see it's up almost to the top of his bumper. Now he doesn't have a lift. He's stock. I believe he's on 33s, which is pretty similar to the way I am. I have a little bit of a lift. There's a dead tree right there, right under the top of his tree, his Jeep, that says "Do not trespass." If you go straight there, there's a much more challenging obstacle, and You don't want to go there unless you're prepared for it. It's a pretty well straight down drop into the creek, and a lot of folks lift a tire there. I have a Spas Creek update video, and the thumbnail has FJ in front of me with the tire off the ground if you want to see what that looks like. Again, that's the Spas Creek update video from about a year ago, maybe. We're running right along the creek. The creek's on our passenger side here. And a lot of these have bypasses around them, some of them don't. There's a little deeper hole right there. Not too bad, just as you enter it. And you can see the bank of the creek there. And we're weaving in and out amongst these trees here. If you're on a longer wheelbase, you'll need to pay a little more attention so you don't get any body damage getting too close to these trees. There's plenty of room for most vehicles. I don't know if the biggest trucks wouldn't have more trouble back up and pull up, in other words. But we can get through here fairly easy. Rarely have to spot anybody through this. Now we're getting ready to go over a drop-off, getting close to the end. And this drop-off's about 4 feet. You've seen it on videos before. Here I am coming across it. I got a pretty good breakover angle. Well, I don't have any, not even close to hitting anything. And here comes the wheelies. Same size tires, but not as much of a lift. You can go off to the passenger side there and go off camber a little bit, and it won't be quite as demanding on a breakover. Notice he was a little closer there, but he still got over without hitting anything. Now here comes JK, 4-door JKU, excuse me. He's got about a 4-inch lift, and he's got 35-inch tires. And if you'll see, watch his steps there, they get awful close because they're hanging down. Steps can be an issue. I've seen many of them left behind or digging up an acre of dirt. Now here comes the Gladiator. He's a little longer on smaller tires, and if you watch, I don't think he bottoms out his steps. Yep, there it is. Front step got into it, and I believe his rear trailer hitch hit the mud behind him. You notice the tire's off the ground. So there's no rock there, so it's just mud. So no damage. And here we're going up the chute. This is rock. You can scrape on this. You can. I haven't seen anybody hit anything in the front. It looks like you might get close to the approach angle limit, but it's better than you think. It's angled up, not under. And sometimes people have stacked rocks. I don't approve of that, but they do. And you need to get lined up here, because I have seen people get awfully close, and I've heard of people scraping a side in here. So sometimes you have to pull up and back up to get through this. Most people just get right up it. Pretty good traction on these rocks most of the time. In the snow and ice, I did spin a couple times, and it was a little harder. And here comes the Gladiator on 32s and no lift. Now he's going to have to back up, straighten up. He's a little bit too far passenger, so he ended up going up at a slight angle, but he gets right up it. And he drug rear shock mounts, and we had another previous Gladiator did the same thing. Another taller tire, 33-inch tire, probably wouldn't have. Just, it's awful close. Now we're at the top where the big last mud hole is. It's not as deep as it can be. Usually it's pretty close to 2/3 of the way up that. That's probably not even halfway. It's probably not, I don't know, 15 inches deep. And there we are at the end of the Spas Creek. There's the sign. We're going to zip on out of here and head to 713. Just follow it on out. Make all lefts. Get out on the gravel. When we get on the blacktop, we're going to make a right on 713. And it's going to take us to 460. We're going to go through Frenchburge. And then we're going to go on 36 to Johnson Branch. I should have a map pop up here in a second. And notice that straight line. That straight line, I had turned off tracking, I guess, and didn't turn it back on until we actually got on the trail. So you got to stay up 36, go on Johnson Branch, and it turns into Rainy Ratliff. It becomes Ratliff as you come out on the other end. Here's a little climb on Johnson Branch. This is a fairly easy trail under most conditions. I just showed this little section here because we had a little bit of a problem at some point. Someone, we assume it was locals, they don't like us off-roaders much. I don't quite know why. I'm sure they've had a bad run-in. It isn't with us. But somebody had dropped a couple of trees across trying to limit access, but somebody came up in here before us and cut them back. So you'll see the tree here as we go between it. There's the tree. There's one of the trees. You can tell it was fallen because up above you can see where it's cut down. And we're going to run into another one up here that was the same way. Make sure you take care of these trails and pack out whatever you pack in. And if you see trash, take it out with you. Let's try to take care of these places so people don't look at us as a nuisance and don't want to have us back there. There's the end of Johnson Branch. Had a little birthday party going on. This lasted a while. I sped this up, obviously. And we're going to leave here and we're going to head to Clifton Road. So we're going to get out of here and go on out to the highway, 1274, which is also Beaver Creek Road. We're going to make a right, and a short distance later we're going to turn left onto Clifton Road. Clifton Road got a mile or so of blacktop before you get to the trail. We're going to pick it up at the trailhead. And we're all together again now. And we're going off Clifton. This has been a long day, so this is the winter, so we had shorter days. We didn't get started till after lunch. We're running behind a little bit, and we stopped several times and slowed us down. So by the time we get to the end, it's getting dark. A nice little water crossing here. If you've seen my other videos, we run right up the creek here. A couple of little small waterfalls. I'll have a little bit of camcorder video after I pull up here and stop. I'm standing off to the side so you can't see it as much, but we're coming up the creek now. There's the first waterfall. I think there's 3. Beautiful back in here. You can take pictures and have nice waterfalls. There's a lot more off the trail in the creek that we run along the side of than just what we're seeing on the trail. Again, remember all of this has been sped up at least double time. Some of it a little faster than that if it wasn't terribly important to the video. There's the Gladiator. And here comes the Willies, or Willis, if you want to be correct about the pronunciation. And moving right along. I had about 5 hours worth of video on this day. And this one here you can go around if you want to, and the mud hole's a little deeper. Cody tends to follow me, wants to do whatever I do, but it wasn't that bad on this day. And if you have any questions, you can go around it. This trail is not that muddy, not that many deep mud holes. It's got several fairly steep crossings, like this one right here has got a little bit steep on one side or the other, and there's another one as well, and some, I wouldn't call them moderate rocks. This is about a 2/3 level ride here. The whole ride together is probably a 2 to 2.5, 3. You should be able to do this in most stock off-road vehicles, with some caveats for low clearance in a few spots like we saw on Spalls Creek. And here's another, notice the bumper off to the side there somebody lost. Somebody went through here on a vehicle that had a little less ground clearance and lost their front bumper. Have to find somebody with a truck or something that can haul that out of here. And here we're getting ready now to climb the first rocky hill. Gotta watch out here. There's a pipe through this little area next to where the trees come through. You want to watch it because it kind of looks like it has a sharp edge. It's right there in the ground. I try to stay as close to that passenger side as I can so my tire sidewall doesn't get into that. And here I'm going up the hill. Everybody's waiting their turn so they can be videoed. This is Clifton Rd, and this spot here has one place up here. You see it right behind me here. There's a little white rock right dead in the middle. Can cause low clearance, small tire vehicles a little bit of a problem. You need to kind of get your front tire, one of your front tires on it, and it makes it a lot easier. You will usually, if you go over to the way the most comfortable seems to be, the front diff will hit it. If you got anything above 33s, you usually do just fine. And again, it's right here where these cluster of trees was cut off the trail. He's got 35s, he's going to go right over it. I do direct people like that to try to put a tire on it, get used to that kind of thing. As time goes on and more of these trails wear, doesn't matter your size of your tire. What worked on 35s today may not work next year on 35s. And here comes the Gladiator. And again, he's going to try to get off to the side a little bit, and he gets right over it. That's a fairly rocky hill. You don't have to go fast on it. You can kind of crawl up it and don't give it much trouble. It's not muddy, it's just rocky. And here comes Willie's, and see, yeah, he's going to have to turn. Because he's on smaller tires, he's going to get on over just fine now too. It's technique a lot of times over just brute power. And we're going to move right along. There's a couple of little spots here and there. This is a sharp turn. There's a metal culvert there. So far it's not sharp. It's just got folded over metal. You want to stay to the outside, your left side, as much as you can. There's kind of a washout in the middle of it on the passenger side in this direction. Here's the second rocky hill. There's that big rock right there. You see him climbing over it. This is camcorder video. I'm already up. There's some rock ledges behind me that we're going to go over up to a big ledge, rock shelf where we always stop and have another photo op. When you're coming up these rocky hills, putting your tire on the biggest rock usually gives you your best chance of getting through something without bottoming out. But you don't want to hit a differential. I've done both. I've hit differentials, I've hit tubes, I've hit probably about everything at this point. Short of turning it over, which I try my level best not to. And notice everybody's really getting up this pretty easy. Run low range, you just let it kind of climb. And here's the rock shelf / cave we always stop at and take pictures and just hang out for a little bit before we finish the trail. There's not a lot left of it now. And there's a picture taken here of all of us. And we're going to get ready to head on out. You notice how much darker it's gotten there in that little bit of time we were there. We might have been there 20 minutes or so. It's starting to get dark, getting around, I don't know, 4 o'clock. Out here in the woods and down in these hollers, it gets dark fast. Just a couple of things left. We got a little muddy hill. You can see my rear end drug the center of the skid plate right there. There's a little bit of mud here and there. Again, the lower clearance vehicles have more trouble with it than anybody else. I'm one of those when it comes to ruts. In the description, there's a lot of other stuff as well. You might want to look in the description. I try to describe some of the things, tell you about my Jeep, and again, there will be some links in there to products that we have used if you're interested. This is probably the muddiest part of the entire trail, and we're going uphill, of course. Notice when I go across a spot where it's rutted on both sides that I leave a little stripe in the mud from my rear differential skid plate. And once we get out of that, we stopped here for a bit because the tree we're going to go under here, a piece of it had fallen down, and we took a little minute to investigate it and figure out how we're going to get through it, and we decided that we could get under it. There's the piece laying there. We decided we could get under it without moving anything. It was getting late, otherwise I would have grabbed a hold of it and pulled it to the side. We came back, or I came back later, and it was still there, and somebody that was with us helped us roll it over out of the way. Again, that just goes to show you there's not that many people on these trails this time of year. And there's a little bit of rocks after that, and a little bit of mud, and then we're out. See my rear end drug again there. We're going to run up here, and there's a house here. Please be respectful when you leave away from here. Don't sling too much mud and make a big mess. They get upset about that, and I can't say as I blame them. We're going to run out to the end up here, sit at a parking ride for a minute, and head out. I hope everybody's enjoyed this. Come back again. Thanks for watching.